Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. And we're going to be covering everything around Joiin AI and what we've been up to delivering AI solutions within the Joiin platform. Harry, do you want to fire up the presentation and we'll get going?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining. And there we go, Luce. It should be on screen for you right now.
Superb. Okay, so I'm Lucian Wynn. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Joiin.
And
Go.
I'm Harry Simons, and I head up the customer success team at Join. Very nice to see you all, some familiar and some new faces joining. And I head up the kind of that point from trial into successful paid subscription, happy customer for Join users.
Good stuff.
So we start off with a poll today, just to kind of gauge actually where we are as a community in terms of our AI usage within our finance function. So I'm just going to begin that one and open the poll, and I'm going to launch this one here. So we're asking here, how often are you using AI in your finance function? Is it completely you're new to this, not using AI at all, or is it somewhere in between there and I use AI every day in my role? We're getting some results flooding in, kind of a bumper crowd today as well. So thank you very much everyone for attending. And just while we're waiting for some poll responses, we're about 65% of people have answered the poll so far. We're also going to be doing a Q&A session at the end. So if you'd like to go into the Q&A and ask any questions, please feel free during the session or at the end. And we have Kyle, one of our technical team, in the back end, squirreling away, answering any questions that don't necessarily relate to this webinar, but will also follow up personally to any question that's asked. So I'm going to end this poll, and Luce, I'll hand over to you to talk about the results.
Okay. Absolutely good. That's great. We're seeing about 40% who are using AI every day in their role, and we're definitely seeing that in our platform. More and more people are adopting and using AI. Lots around weekly tasks, and interesting, people just getting started. And again, look, there is no specific timeline around this, but yeah, we're very much seeing that this sort of type of activity in both our own working lives and of course within Join. So yeah, no, good to see, and a few people haven't quite used it yet, but this is what this session's all about. So yeah, excellent stuff. So we're going to talk today about first we're going to kick off a bit around the foundation and about Join Intelligence and the guardrails and how we manage data. And then we're going to come into a bit around AskJoiin, which is our sort of ChatGPT agent, which you can ask it questions. We're going to touch on a thing about which is known as agents, and especially around our report builder, into something, a new acronym called the MCP, and I'll let Harry deliver that later. And then we're going to flow on with a bit around the roadmap. And of course, as we always do, we're going to be asking you guys, what you want us to build and how you can support us in our own AI journey and yours.
Cool. And just before we move on, there might be some audio issues we're getting reported back to us. It sounds like I am the problem there, so apologies. I will be on mute while I'm not talking. Luce, if you do the same as well, we can kind of chop and change there.
Okay, thanks, Harry.
So yes, we're going to talk about Join Intelligence, which is the kind of the umbrella term for the AI within Join, and just kind of our feelings and how we're managing AI within Join and our kind of broad perspective on AI. So everything within Join in terms of AI is built on AWS Bedrock, which has kind of best of breed security that also harnesses some of Anthropic's technology as well with enterprise grade security for your data that you can rely on as well.
Absolutely. And we, like you, use Join every day. So we want the data to be handled in that enterprise grade format. We don't want our data to be shared, and we don't want our data to be trained. And we absolutely understand that, nor do our customers. So categorically, that is not happening, and we would never do that. And as Harry said, we utilize AWS not just for the platform, but for the AI. So we've got everything contained in a very secure and trusted environment. We also have spent a lot of time getting Join AI to understand the product. So what we have done, we've given it business context, we've given it the financial principles, and we have really honed the AI to understand why are people using Join and what they're trying to get out of Join. So, and the AI is purely looking at this, not a generic chat bot. It's something that's been absolutely configured and trained to support, accounting and financial data, consolidated data within the platform. Do you want to touch on the guardrails, Harry?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that we're talking about a lot at the moment. And one of the kind of the major concerns around finance and AI is reliability still at this time. And if anyone's asked ChatGPT recently to do some basic maths for it, I'm sure it probably gave you a wrong answer, like it told me there was 11 months in the year yesterday. That's actually true as well. We've built Join's AI within the Join guardrails. So you invoke a request to the AI, an AI agent goes off and acts within Join within the Join framework. So it'll run a Join report using the Join framework and deliver those results back to the user. So there's no room for hallucinations or false numbers when using that report build, which is something that's really important, and is something that we kind of build into our AI thinking constantly.
Okay, and then of course we've got AskJoiin, and this is really our chatbot that we've touched on. And we're seeing a lot of adoption around this, and a lot of people are starting to really push it in terms of its capabilities. And I've got to say I use it daily, and I get a huge amount of value about querying it around. As you'd expect, the sort of normal variance and trend analysis, but also things that the erroneous things, where are the things that don't quite fit? What things haven't matched? What codes aren't quite right? And we found it incredible, just the depth that it can go into and the way it can support our customers. And we've got some incredible use cases, haven't we, Harry? That people using the platform. You're on mute.
Yeah, that's right. I misclicked there. Yeah, so I had some really interesting conversation with the CFO at Ingenia recently talking about their AI usage. And they're a multi-entity, kind of VC-backed recruitment firm, essentially. And Hamish, their CFO, was doing some really interesting things with kind of asking Join questions in natural language and finding kind of commonalities between the entities and finding joint suppliers and able to kind of collective bargain on subscription costs and understand customers across different entities that are completely separate in separate Xero files, but actually are all brought together under the Join umbrella as well. So that's just a nice example there and a case study that's coming out soon. Then there's this area, which is support, which is very much kind of my remit. We've seen a massive reduction in support tickets already because of some of the capabilities within Join AI. Obviously, there is the beneficial kind of aspect of the 24/7 on support. Our model is trained with our kind of user guides and deep product knowledge. And then it also understands the context of your data. So you can ask questions, whether you're a completely new customer to Join, you could tell it to build a report. But actually, we're finding accounting firms that are onboarding their clients with Join's AI, helping to harness that and actually kind of onboard clients quicker as well. And we're kind of saying, look, definitely make the most of it as a support tool, not only as a kind of like another member of your team.
Yeah, and the quirky bit, which was fascinating, was that we also noticed because we have a global footprint. We've got thousands of customers positioned all around the world, and people were talking to the AI in different languages. And although my Spanish isn't particularly good, in fact, it's pretty much non-existent. And I know Harry's French is, pigeon at the best, but we have found that it's amazing. So what happens is that you can ask in any language and the AI will just respond back to you. And we're seeing some really interesting, we've seen Mandarin, we've seen as I said, Spanish and French. So yeah, it's quite fascinating. And I think it just shows that you put in these services and it never ceases to sort of surprise you.
And it was and actually interestingly, Lucy was talking about how we were kind of unaware that it had that capability. The only reason we found out is because we got a support ticket come through that's gone through our AI agent, and a Argentinian-based business had asked a question in an Argentinian dialect of Spanish. And not only was the AI speaking back in Spanish, but actually their particular dialect as well, which we thought was really interesting and great. And just before we continue moving on, we've got a few questions coming through around security, which we'll touch on at the end as well, some really important ones that we'll really hone into.
So let's dig in and show them a bit of a live demo around Join AI and how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to just jump into my version of Join. And we're going to start with a prompt around the Join AI and the kind of large language model chatbot. So I'm just going to pop this one in very quickly and I'll talk through while it's loading what's going on here. So I've opened up the Join large language model powered by Anthropic and AWS, and I've asked a question. I've said, give me a consolidated overview of my group's financial health with some different KPIs and metrics there. This prompt is a part of the 25 top prompts that we'll be sharing for attendees of this webinar as well. So look out in your inbox post this session where we'll be sharing some top prompts that we've had shared with us by customers. So you can see here we've got a really nice visually appealing, quick, like kind of financial snapshot of my multi-entity business, pulling out cash position, profitability, and actually giving me some recommendations and areas to investigate as well. Pulling all of that kind of multi-entity data into one place, which we're getting some amazing results for, and actually our customer base are already talking about and getting great results from as
Just
well.
before you flick off, Harry, just want to show you can also get to the same Join AI on the bottom left.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So there's a couple of different places that you can access all of this. I accessed it from up here, Join AI, but it also links back into our chat with us button, which is the kind of first port of call in terms of support. But these all link into each other as well, as giving you that kind of really rich context, but allowing you to ask support questions of the AI as well as actually using it as your analysis tool.
Okay, so moving on. So we are going to do a couple more demos, but just what is an agent? You probably have seen lots of people talking about AI agents, and an agent is really an AI function that can go off and do things autonomously. So you can set it in natural language to go and do something, and then what it uses its toolkits and its frameworks to go and build a response. And we've built out the report builder agent, which a lot of customers have been using, and we've had a huge amounts of adoption there. And that is our first AI agent. But one of the things we want to stress about that is that we see agents as really driving productivity, driving efficiency for you, our customers. But you guys are totally in the loop and totally responsible for verifying the data, for signing it off and editing and making sure it's fit for purpose. So, and we see that very much, don't we, Harry, as the way that AI will work. We will be delivering more of these agents, but fundamentally it just improves people's lives and ultimately people become more efficient and more productive.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of questions coming in around different feature requests and ideas that we could go down. Well, we're going to be having a session at the end where we talk about where we should be going next for your particular use cases. So we'll make sure we touch on those as we go. And just a quick one on agents. So essentially an agent will kind of complete these repetitive workflows for you, speed up on delivery, and as we said, kind of human in the loop at all times. So that's just a kind of key one to touch across on there.
So
We're
let's
gonna now. Sorry, Luce, I kind of
no,
pushed
I'm
that.
just going to say, just I was just about to say, let's show them in action, because I think that's the most impressive piece.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so again, this is another prompt that is in our 25 prompts that we'll be sharing post this session. And I'm going to do the same thing again, where I'm going to put the prompt in, then I'll talk through what's going on just while it loads. So I've gone and I've put that prompt in. So how did I do that? What I did was I went into Join, and we've got this little build a report item for me at the top, which I can click on, and then I can type in natural language the report that I want to create. I've kind of said I want some certain KPIs, certain reports, and Join will now go off and the agents will individually run each of these reports using the Join guardrails and bring those together into a report pack for me. It'll take a couple of moments, probably kind of 2 minutes to load, which maybe feels like a long time on a webinar to sit and watch a screen load, but obviously in terms of that process and what it would have taken you before to create this for your group or maybe multiple clients each month, is a massive time saver. And this is kind of an ever evolving tool as well within Joiin. We've got some new updates that were actually added late last night when we were kind of almost mid webinar that I discovered on my development site in here, where you're now going to be able to kind of edit existing reports as well in natural language. So this one's just going to load, and as I say, we're going to be sharing these kind of prompts for you post session, and just like that, the report has loaded, all branded up with my Joiin branding, my brand colors, and everything like that, into a kind of a ready-made PDF document with some executive summary here. So if I click on edit prompt in here, I can see what the prompt is for this AI analysis. It's a little bit small, so if I open it up there, and it's just telling me what this prompt is, and this prompt is a live prompt as well. So if I come in next month, obviously I'll have my April month end numbers in there next month. I can press generate, it will regenerate, and it will take the kind of the prompt intelligence and create that one for me as well. And it'll go off and take a couple of moments to load as well. And it's going to give me context over the whole report. So we'll come back to that one in just a second while it loads. We've got some of those KPIs again, all at the consolidated level against budget, against expenses, with some revenue, return on equity, and some different prompts that I put in there. We've then got some revenue versus budget numbers, again, all pulled in natural language. And just going through, we've got some different reports, financial position report, some cash flow analysis, and then a closing statement as well with some payables management as well. So we can go back up to the top, and hopefully that one is now loaded, and just like that it has. So we've got an executive summary, highly contextualized to my business, my numbers, and it didn't land quite as nicely as it did yesterday. There was a rather ironic comment when we did this webinar for the Australian market yesterday about the impending change in the SaaS market because of AI, but it didn't open with that one today.
No, and I think the important point here is that this still gives the customer, the end user, the ability to edit and change and adjust, and all of those features and functions are still present within the report, even though the AI report builder built it from the get-go. So yeah, we're still giving all of that power back to the customer. Okay, now this one is my favorite question, Harry, and it's coming your way, which is explain what an MCP is.
Yeah, so again, this was one of the things that we said we wouldn't do in the pre-planning session. Lucian wasn't going to ask me that question. Model Context Protocol, that stands for, and it's basically, and bear with for the acronyms here, it's an API for AI. So it will allow you to connect multiple AI systems into your existing workflows, whether that's Xero into Joiin, into Claude, into Power BI, however that might work, pulling in data across these different streams. And we've got connections in to various MCP servers. We've got a live connection to ChatGPT and Claude at the moment, but you can pull into Gemini, Copilot, whatever tools you're using. And we're building those ones out constantly as well.
Absolutely. And I think, like everything, I think showing that. So I think we're going to show Claude a pro version. So this means it's a private version. So it's not a consumer version of Claude, connecting to the MCP server, which is Joiin. And you're going to do a query, aren't you, within Claude? Actually, no, you're using ChatGPT today. Sorry.
Yes, I'm using ChatGPT today.
I do apologize.
Again, it works for both, but I'm inside here in ChatGPT, and I'm just going to ask a question in natural language, and I'm just going to dictate this one. So excuse me 1 second. Run a P&L report, tell me my net profit. Do this using the Joiin skill/tool, and do it for my client, Harry Excels. So hopefully my dictation was good there. All looks nice. So now I can run that one, and I'm basically asking ChatGPT to use the Joiin MCP. It's going to use the Joiin tool. It's going to run my reports, pull in my net profit figures, and then it should display that on screen for me as well. And this is a really simple request, but it will allow you to start pulling in data from various workflows into one place and allow you to work in wherever you're working at this moment in time. And Joiin is the kind of intelligent data layer there, kind of pulling in data and being the conduit between your different tools.
Yeah, I like to think of it as Join's doing the heavy lifting and doing all the consolidation, and then the customer is getting access to this in the environment they want to work. And we've seen we launched the MCP server a few weeks ago, and we've seen a really healthy adoption amongst the customer base. And we've only just really started promoting it. So clearly, customers are building out some really nice use cases and getting value from it.
Yeah, and there we go. So we've got our net profit figure there pulled in as a kind of a simple example there.
Excellent. Okay, so on the roadmap, we are, as we're doing today, we're sending you post the webinar the 25 top prompts, but that really is in line with our prompt library that we're going to be create a set of financial prompts that we're going to publish within the app. So they'll be by sections, and that's coming relative very soon, and the team have been working on that. And Harry, do you want to touch on the custom agents piece?
Yeah, so and already some real appetite in the chat actually we can see, or in the Q&A section, sorry, today, around different agents and things we can be doing and what we should be doing, right? We really respect and thrive off that critical feedback of telling us where we should be going and the problems we need to solve. So we're going to be building lots of agents that basically do what you're already doing in Join or other areas in your finance function, but doing it kind of AI augmented to help you speed up those processes, etc. So I'm just going to launch a poll quickly. So um, that should now be coming up on your screen. And we'd just like to understand, like, what's your number one priority in terms of roadmap for, particularly from an AI perspective? So is it a prompt library? Is it AI forecasting? Is it some kind of cash and treasury management tool? Or is it something else? If it is, feel free to pop that one in the Q&A. And just to be aware, any questions that go into the Q&A will be recorded, responded to personally via email, and put into our roadmap and documented as well. So it's not going to be a black hole where you ask a question and then it gets disregarded later. So we'll make sure we respond back accordingly. And we've already got 100% answers on these ones. Oh no, hang on. We're at 52% of people have answered this question. So I'll leave it a couple more seconds and I will then end the poll. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll there and I'm going to share the results and Lucy's going to talk you through those ones.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's interesting. Slightly different from the webinar we did last night. The prompt library is obviously popular, but AI forecasting is a big hitter. And just to let you know, we are in the alpha testing of the AI forecasting. You'll be able to query in a natural language and deliver a forecast. So that is very close indeed. And interestingly, I mean, the accounts payable and the intercompany elimination agents, they were slightly more popular yesterday, but the month-end close agent is actually the most popular at 54%. And that's great because, again, that's on our roadmap. And, we are building out some of these agents as we speak. So, no, really good stuff. And it's good to see that our customers are aligned to what we're thinking. So, yeah, that's a really strong message. And thanks for your participation. So, good
Cool.
stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that poll now and we're going to go into the Q&A section. Just to forewarn, we've already probably got more questions than we can answer. So what I will try and do is I'll try and kind of categorize these up and start answering them. But as I say, we'll also be responding to each person individually. And we did yesterday. I think we can probably run over by an extra 5 minutes, seeing as we're still at 96% retention rate for this session. So we'll go on through here. Okay, so we've got lots of questions about how do I connect Joiin into my MCP tools, whether that be Claude, ChatGPT. We have instructional videos in our support site. You can always ask the Joiin AI inside Joiin, but equally will, like I say, I'll send each and every one of you a video afterwards. Okay. Um, so got an interesting question here, actually. It's a bit of a tricky one. So I'm going to ask it to you, Lucian.
Thank you.
And it's from an anonymous attendee as well. So, what is stopping me from getting the same reports by feeding my data into Claude? And what value do you provide except just uploading data into Claude?
Good question. So I think so what we've built within Join is a data model. And when you are bringing in your different data sources, whether it's Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, and we've got other GLs, and of course we've got non-financial data, we build within Join a data model which is consistent, it's tried and tested, and it is structured to do the heavy lifting for the consolidation or the heavy lifting for the reporting. And so when you're connecting Claude natively, all you're actually doing is creating Norv to maybe one of your instances. And of course, you just don't get that structure. So I think the answer is, within Join, we do the heavy lifting. We've got the security, we've got the frameworks, we've got the toolkits. When you connect Claude, you're basically just you've got the ability to sort of query that based on the work that we've previously done. So hopefully that's a good answer. Harry, is there anything you want to add to that, or do you think that covered it off?
No, I think that covers it off very nicely. We've got a couple more questions. So questions are still coming in thick and fast here, but we've got lots of questions. So I'm talking from Jeff, from Michael, and a few others here about different agents and different things that they'd like Join to be able to do. So examples there are customize the reports. This is one that we've definitely spoken about a lot in-house, and is kind of in the how is that going to work phase. We're coming thick and fast with features and development, but creating those customized P&Ls to your kind of requirements, customized balance sheets, etc.
Ab-
We're thinking
ab-
about as well.
Absolutely. And I think we've also got a AI dashboard agent where we're going to have being able to create new dashboards. So hopefully that sort of fits in. So we're very much around how we get AI to help customize. So yeah, across not just the P&L or not just across the other reporting elements, but also within the dashboard. So
Yeah. So there's a question here. Well, not so much a question, just kind of a statement from Nigel as well. Just to prove we kind of take some of the kind of the critical friends as well in here around some limitations with the Join AI. And at the moment it doesn't have the functionality to understand and pick up category level data. That is something we're working on.
yeah,
So Join has some limitations. It does have some functionality around this where it'll be able to pick up category and class data, but it's not fully native in there at this moment in time. So that's definitely one that we need to improve on, right?
absolutely.
Question. So there's a couple here actually that we can tick off from Jeff, from Luca. Um, and from Stephen, and they're kind of similar questions around what's the fundamentals, what's behind the Join AI. So primarily Join AI runs on AWS Bedrock and Anthropic. So all of your data remains within your secure environment. This data is not shared, it's not used for learning on anyone else's model. So hopefully that should cover off Luca, Stephen, and Jeff's question there as well.
Yeah, and I spotted another one which was just about sharing and there is no sharing. We call the API, so and that's within the AWS Bedrock environment. So yeah, as you said, very secure and private, which is the key thing.
Yeah. Interesting question here actually as well from Jeff. Jeff, someone that we've had a relationship with for a long time, been a long-standing Joy customer. I believe we did a case study back along as well, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken, um, around kind of data integrity and how's Join going to continue to make sure that the report packs using the Join guardrails create the right reports, but actually the more kind of standalone analysis, how are we going to continue to make sure that that's verified and correct? Because that's kind of fundamental to finance.
Is that to me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's an ongoing issue. We do know that there is hallucinations within the LLMs, and we continue to work with the LLM, and we're seeing improvements not just from obviously new versions coming out, but also our ability to put better, stronger guardrails around it. But we do say, and this is why at the moment we very much stress that the human touch and the human intervention and the human verification are absolutely key to this process. So it's an ongoing thing, Jeff, but it's definitely something we care deeply about, and we're constantly adjusing and making sure it's correct.
Cool. Okay, so we've got, I think if we say kind of set ourselves a hard limit of 35 minutes past the hour loose, we
Okay.
can rattle through a couple more questions here. Um, David asks, could we add some kind of driver-based budgeting into Join? David, very much watch this space. I have a live version of that on my Join demo environment at this moment in time. It's coming imminently. The functionality is there. We're doing some final touches, I think mainly around the aesthetics of it actually. But we'll be sure to notify you as soon as that's live, and we'll be making a big song and dance about that one as well. Um,
Yeah.
Two questions that are pretty similar here about a connection to Zoho Books. One
Yeah.
that's in discussion, again on the roadmap, but actually we might reach out to you about that one as well, and some different things there.
Yeah,
Um,
and look, we have part of our strategy is to implement and integrate some more GLs, and Zoho is one of them. We've just got some stuff internally that we're doing before that happens. I wasn't meant to say that, was I, Harry? I've just realised there was a strict no roadmap, only stick to AI. But I'm sorry, I sometimes get a bit too excited. So yes, definitely on our roadmap, and I hope it will come this calendar year. So sorry for the interruption, Harry.
No, 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 absolutely. That's fine. Okay. So there's lots of other questions which we haven't answered, which are more product specific, but not necessarily AI specific, which we'll touch on post session. Okay, so let's go for kind of a final question to finish. So we've got what have we got here?
Just as you get that last one. I've just picked up one from Luca, which is about from Anthropic. Actually, Luca, we use a number of the models. So we've got slightly different models for slightly different services within the AI within AI within Join. Obviously, we use a lot of Opus, but we've used Sonnet and Haku as well. So just all of those are surfaced through the AWS Bedrock environment. So all the same Anthropic models, but yeah, slightly different versions. Sorry, Harry.
No, perfect. Oh, I think that's a nice question to finish with there. So, as I've kind of mentioned, feels like about 100 times now, actually, I'm repeating myself, but we'll reach out to everyone personally afterwards. We'll also be sharing our top 25 prompts with some different kind of beginner, intermediate, expert prompts within there. Make the most out of those. But as we say time and again, be a critical friend. Tell us what we need to do to make your lives easier. It really helps us as well. And so, just to finish off, for those of you that are new to Join, there's a QR code on screen which you can register for to get a 30-day free trial and learn a little bit more about what we spoke about today. But I just want to say thank you very much. Thanks for everyone that's joining. We're still got kind of great retention up until the end as well. I'm not going to try and do the maths there, but thank you very much
Yeah.
for me, and I'll hand over to Luce to send us out.
And again, thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you for your participation. And look forward to hearing from you all soon. And please keep going with giving us that feedback. Really appreciate it.
Nice one. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye bye.